here bringing you my daily diary segment. What did I do on Friday, the 8th of November through Saturday the 9th, Sunday the 10th, Monday the 11th. Okay, so on Friday, I was here in the office. I started out with some early work in the morning at my desk. I had a lot to do in terms of desk work, emails, and paperwork, and I'll tell you some of the things that took my time and attention. Gathering items for broadcast. That includes video clips and topical information, etc. Writing a new prayer for President Trump. Preparation of some upcoming shows. Review of the pastoral team schedule for an upcoming meeting. The high donor letters, writing a new version of that. Approval of emails. Follow up to the pro-life leadership meeting that we had online. Priests and state leaders following up with some communications dealing with the recently concluded election. Approvals of appeal letters and emails going out and press releases. A networking video. This is for an upcoming meeting of conservative leaders where there's a room where the different members and groups can show videos, so I approved the one going for that. And then the broadcast schedule for the coming week, as well as requests to meet with various other pro-life and conservative leaders at that upcoming meeting that we're going to. At 8:45, after the initial staff briefing, I drove to Orlando Airport. On the way there, I had a phone call and did some work there in the car over the phone as I was driving, and then got to the airport, checked in, and before getting on the flight, I had another phone call with our administrative team for about a half hour. Then I flew on a midday flight to Chicago. Did some work on the plane on my laptop. Arrived in Chicago, checked into the hotel on the way there, called our executive director and had an update meeting with her. Got there to the airport and got there to the hotel, settled in, had a 3 o'clock phone call with our vice chairman, and then another call at 5:30 with Mark from our executive team. And then I was picked up at the hotel to go to an evening event, very nice event with the Southside Pregnancy Center. There in Evergreen Park, Illinois. They had their 40th anniversary gala, and I was their speaker. Really great event, great networking with all the people. We had an exhibit table there with Priests for Life literature. I showed the people and explained to them about the books and the brochures that were there. Gave the talk, greeted people afterwards as they left, had a chance to greet everybody. It was really, really nice there up in Chicago. Early the next morning, picked up the shuttle from the airport at about 5:30. In the morning, went over to the airport and grabbed my flight back to Florida. Meanwhile, doing a little bit of email work in regard to an upcoming online prayer meeting that I'm helping to lead, as well as talking with our staff about some Christmas mailings that need to go out. Flew back to Orlando, rested a little bit on the plane, also did some work. Got to the office, had to catch up on some reading in preparation for various events this coming week, and a lot of work there at my desk, as well as some taping here in the studio. And then in the evening, I went over to Merritt Island. Our executive director has her office, her home office there. And as I usually do each year, assisted her with taking out and setting up the initial Christmas decorations. So then back to my office. Oh, I also had a phone call, a business call while there with one of our conservative friends in the broadcasting business and talking about some joint projects we are doing with him. Sunday the 10th rolled around, Lord's Day, time for prayer, extra prayer, worship, and of course things that had to be done at my desk, including topics like communication with our data department, work on the 2026 election Senate races, just getting some information drawn together in preparation for that. Writing a new prayer, a prayer of thanksgiving for the election. If you follow our work, you know we have the election prayer at electionprayer.com. So we asked God to guide our nation in the election, and now we wrote a prayer of thanks that happened. Communication with pro-life leaders with plans to meet up soon. And then giving staff some audios of my recent talks so that they can post them online, podcast them, and so forth. Was here in the studio at 10 in the morning for the broadcast, the live broadcast of the Scripture Reflections. Went back to Merritt Island, connected with our executive director, helped her out a little bit. Came back to the office, did some work at my desk. Those things I mentioned, plus a lot of planning, upcoming trips and so forth. And then drove to Cocoa Beach in the early evening, and I had a dinner meeting with the head of NIFLA, one of the main pregnancy center networks, National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, pro-life attorney Tom Glessner. So he and I met, had dinner, and then we had a couple of phone calls, one with a former congressman and one with our executive director, Janet. Drove back late then to Titusville. And finally, Monday the 11th, Veterans Day. Up early, some of the things at my desk with email work and so forth included communications to staff about website postings, about liturgical resource revisions and tapings. Those are the resources to help priests pray and preach and mobilize their congregations in regard to pro-life. Plans for an executive board meeting for the Defending Life Alliance of Florida, a new group that I'm helping to lead. Giving approvals to appeal letters as well as to email blasts. Working with my staff to indicate what the pro-life leader spotlight would be for the upcoming pastoral team meeting. We tell our team about one or another pro-life leader each month so that they get to know the leadership better. And working on some plans for upcoming Priests for Life trips. 8:45 in the morning, I had an interview right here in the studio, national broadcast on a conservative network, talking about the election outcome. Right after that, connected with staff for various short meetings, going around the office, getting the day underway, getting the week underway, making sure everything was good, including connecting with our executive director. At 10 o'clock, I had a meeting with the nutritionist that I consult with every once in a while, just to make sure I'm eating healthy, and that was a very good meeting, half-hour meeting, after which I came right here into the studio and taped some more homily hints for the priests. Made those videos to go up on our website, and we helped them preach about abortion. Then I was welcoming, right after that taping, I welcomed a visitor, someone that I had met at the Republican National Convention and also at a previous conservative political meeting. And she was visiting Priests for Life, visiting the area. And I gave her a tour of the office, and then our executive director, Janet, and I took her for a working lunch. Very nice visit. Came back, and then we had the pastoral team meeting. First, we had Janet and I came here into the studio, and we taped a special Praying for America episode about Veterans Day. So we did a nice, about a half-hour segment on that. And then we began a round of meetings, Janet and I did, via Zoom. We met with our Rachel's Vineyard team, first with Kevin Burke, then with Katie from the Rachel's Vineyard office. Then we had two other, each of these meetings was a half hour. 3 o'clock we met with Father Dennis, and then 3:30 with Brian Kemper. Father Dennis, our associate director, Brian Kemper, our youth outreach and activism coordinator. Then after that, did some more late afternoon desk work, some additional phone calls, had a 5 o'clock phone call with Janet and Mark, administrative team, did my daily walk while meeting with them. We met for about 40 minutes. Came back inside, did a few emails, and got some end-of-day reports from staff. And then at 6:15, I had to go on to almost an hour-long Zoom call with the Defending Life Alliance of Florida board members and other pro-life leaders that I had invited to come onto the call because we're planning a state march for life for Florida. And that was really nice, and we did some planning for that. And came to the end of that call, had dinner after that, and then I was tired, went to bed early, and that concluded the day. So that's what I did from the 8th through the 11th of November. I hope your days are fruitful, happy. Let us rejoice in these election victories. Let us rejoice as we continue to defend